Okay, hello everybody. It is episode 17 of the weekly. Um and Nova is 17 weeks and 6 days old, so we lifted to the last um possible time again because I'm still very sick. And we have Sia again, this time remotely. Um and yeah, we're just gonna go through the news. Uh I
I
don't
think
think
I have to put you guys down.
yeah, I don't think there's anything like severely interesting going on. Um or we'll see. So Uh, I don't know why this is like the major story today. What do you think? It's saying that the census showed that 23% of Canadians are immigrants.
23%.
Yeah, but okay, so I guess that's pretty high, right?
Yeah.
But
But like, why is this the number one story?
but Canada's population has increased way more in the past like 30, 40 years than 20 something percent.
Yeah,
Like
but the point is like, why is this being pushed as like the number one story today? Because it was on my YouTube, on everything. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
No, no theories.
not really.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a theory behind it. I think maybe it's just kind of it's a slow news day.
Yeah. Doug Ford's trying to get out of testifying at the inquiry.
Well, duh.
Yeah. The Bank of Canada raised their interest rate 50 basis points again. And so now they're at 3.75 and the 2 year bond is at 3.89. So they might be slowing down soon. We'll see. Um,
What the inflation rate is.
the inflation rate is like 7% or something right now. Let's see. Canada official inflation rate is 6.9%.
Jesus.
So the interest rate is not even that. The prime rate is not even that. I'm pretty sure the prime rate is still like 5.45. Okay, yeah, it's 5.95 now. Jeez. Oh my goodness. 5.95. That means
Mine says, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, so the prime rate is still lower than the official inflation rate. And uh yeah, that's still very high. That's high like compared to what it was when it was not high, I guess. But it's still not high enough to fight inflation. But basically, the Bank of Canada is just pretending to fight inflation, and they only just follow the bond yields, and the bond yields are starting to basically stop going up. So, Bank of Canada might be slowing down soon, and that'll be the next leg up on inflation.
Uh, I'm trying to figure out. This doesn't sound right. The inflation rate.
Well, yeah, of course it doesn't sound right because it's all manufactured. The
Yes,
whole inflation
point
number is
is nothing.
yeah, the whole inflation number is completely manufactured, and actually, um, there, uh, the guy who invented the CPI in the first place, he kept running the original CPI in the US without all of the manipulation that they added afterwards. And here's the chart of that here. So you see that? So the this red line is the official American inflation, and the blue is if you get rid of all of the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds completely bullshit, the 6.97%.
They
What are
like
you talking
they
about?
like substitute things out. Like imagine like if CPI is based on a basket of goods, the price of a basket of goods compared over time, right? But basically they're doing stuff like they're switching out beef for chicken. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, and basically, like, stuff that you buy, packaged stuff, is less weight for the same price or a little bit more price.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. There's all sorts of other ways that they fudge it. There's certain stats that are just like completely screwed up. The way that they measure housing prices is totally screwed up, and then the weight that they give it, because they can also change the weight of the different stuff in the basket of goods, right?
Hmm.
Those are all the ways that they manipulate it, and they have an incentive to manipulate it because there's certain things that the government has to pay that is based on inflation, right? So if the
Yeah.
government underestimates inflation, then that is a way for them to basically benefit that way. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. 6.9, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I haven't really read this story about these two Canadian women arrested in Canada after coming home from Syrian camp for ISIS fighters' families.
I mean, it sounds like a story to me. Can we talk about the fact that people from Winnipeg are called Winnipeggers?
Well, what else would they be called?
Well, but that would be better than Winnipeggers.
Winnipeg.
Like, are they all just pegging their husbands there? Like,
Winnipetians.
that would be way better than Winnipeggers.
Yeah.
But that sounds kind of interesting. You know what? I'm not that surprised if people were trying to fuck around and find out with Syrian like ISIS fighters, then yeah, like you don't exactly deserve to be a citizen here, let alone
No, they shouldn't.
in society.
They should not even be allowed back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, you forfeit your citizenship when you go fight for the enemy of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can, I mean, we don't have execution, so.
That's true. Not anymore, but
Yeah. So it looks like Rishi Sunak is not getting very favorable press right from the beginning.
No, apparently he's like a kind of a sleazy guy.
Yeah, he's a total spineless like weaver.
Oh,
But like I don't know, the media has been just like, yeah, they haven't been nice to him.
I mean, does he deserve it? No. So
The Ukraine stuff just like keeps chugging on. Like there was all of this news this week about how Russia and Ukraine were both accusing each other of planning to use a dirty bomb as a false flag.
yeah. There was also a terrorist attack in Iran in a religious shrine.
And where?
Apparently
Shrine?
10, religious shrine. 10 dead or 9 dead, something. And the regime immediately announced this was ISIS. There was a thing on an ISIS website that basically we did this and blah blah blah. Now the problem with that is, well, the regime is trying to say, yeah, see, these guys are trying to take advantage and blah blah blah. But the problem is the attack occurred at 7:42 p.m. and the press release and the poster even for the tragedy came out at 7:45.
are we shocked though? Like ISIS has always been at the forefront of like claiming that they were, people who
No,
are doing the
the
terror.
thing is, I don't even think that site basically is what is ISIS's work, because
Yeah.
in the website it says basically on the 30th of Rabiul Awwal. Rabiul Awwal is a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is an Arabic month.
Mm-hmm.
Rabiul Awwal, basically first of spring, I guess.
Mhm.
And the problem with that is ISIS are Arabic and they're Muslims. And they should know that Rabiul Awwal only has 29 days, not 30 days. But in the press, in that website thing that says, yeah, we did this on the 30th of Rabiul Awwal,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a day. It's like 31st of February. It just doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
they're just kind of,
It's
Hey.
weird that an Arab doesn't know that there is no 30th of Rabiul Awwal.
Yeah, I guess not.
Hmm.
There's been a lot of fuck ups with this. Like everybody just came out and said, yeah, you did this, the regime, you did this, and yeah, you will be punished for it. We will punish the culprits, but it's you. It was like,
Fucking
yeah, 3
ISIS.
minutes. The
It's so
whole
funny.
thing came out, the whole package, basically news package came out 3 minutes after the attack.
That's so funny to me. They didn't even try.
It was ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
Hmm.
3 minutes. Like the video that they released had a timestamp of like 7:42 something, and the whole thing came out at 7:45, and then ISIS comes out and says like the 30th of February. It's not good, not good work.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad because the regime is trying to scare the religious people in Iran
Yeah,
by killing them.
yeah,
That's like, yeah, see, they're doing this. So they killed like half a dozen, almost like a dozen people, innocent people.
yeah.
But yeah, it was them. They had done this before. They once put a bomb in another shrine and killed like dozens
hmm
to blame like the NGO, and later came out that it was them. So
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, it's not shocking then.
that was international news portion.
Yeah. Okay. Al Jazeera has Italy's Meloni commits to EU, apparently.
What?
Yeah, it says Italy's Meloni commits to EU in speech to MPs.
Rejects what?
They confirmed support for the European Union, NATO, and Ukraine, and rejected fascism, basically.
Hmm.
Italy is fully part of Europe and the
What's the
Western world.
title again?
Italy commits to the EU.
No, go up.
Uh,
The
hold
headline.
on. Italy is fully a part of Europe and the Western world.
Okay, this is so. Mika,
Yes.
either read something or uh, go up for a second. Let me see the whole uh, title headline.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is pro EU, other than maybe she's just saying that she's pro EU.
Yeah, she says we're part of EU. We're a real part of EU, and we're basically
They're trying to get money from the EU, and
Yeah, that's what it
that's
seems.
basically it.
So yeah, she's just
And
saying shit in order to get money.
Yeah. Whatever.
What exactly would she consider fascism, though? You know what I mean? Like,
because they say, "Oh, fascist," so she said, "Yeah, I'm not fascist."
Yeah. Look, Jagmeet Singh says that raising the interest rate is not going to cut it.
really interesting.
Oh, Jagmeet said something
Wow, great. I'm so glad.
there.
Yeah. Earlier this week, Jagmeet Singh said the central bank's approach to fighting inflation has absolutely no merit. What does that even mean?
It says the man with no merit.
So he's saying that there's a concern about the interest rates because it hurts people and it'll trigger a recession.
It's so funny that this man is sticking to his guns of saying that families matter, when in reality, all he did was fucking sell out families just a couple months ago.
Yeah. So like he's just bumbling. Listen to this.
Yeah.
I have to accept and I acknowledge that increasing the interest rate has certainly brought down housing somewhat. there's been a downward pressure on housing, so I acknowledge that.
Okay. He's just saying something to try and be relevant, I swear.
He has to say things. That's the thing. He's technically leader of a party.
Technically.
So he has to say something about something.
This shit is so
You can't
interesting.
just say, yeah, we are just part of the Liberal Party. We're the same, bought and sold with the same people. So he has to every once in a while say things.
Look at this. They want to call for an investigation into food prices, and they want to
Okay.
do an inquiry into food prices at the parliamentary level.
Okay. What is that gonna do? Oh
Bruh.
yeah. So there's inflation, and the other page says that we're fucked. Like, what do you want? What kind of investigation? Who's investigating it? Please.
No, they basically that's another budget for some money spent. Like, yeah, we need a $50 million budget to
Yeah.
investigate this thing.
I'm so glad my taxes go into investigating food prices.
Yeah. But basically,
At this point, it's not even our taxes anymore.
yeah,
Yeah, honestly.
yeah, it's just made up.
Fucking stupid. This is the
Yeah.
gayest shit I've read all day.
I don't know. This suggests that like the direction that the NDP is going, if they ever came into office, then they would just literally just take over the central bank. Speaking of which, in America, they're talking about opening up like a new way of printing money, basically.
Hmm.
So instead of the treasury bonds being bought by the Federal Reserve, they would buy the treasury bonds from the treasury itself.
What?
Basically, they would just issue debt to themselves and they wouldn't even go through the central
Yeah, like-
bank. And then the what's it called? The executive branch, like the secretary of the treasury would control it directly.
Okay.
So basically, right now there's this pretend show that the central bank is independent, but they would basically like create another central bank that's not independent.
Yeah. It's a giant circle jerk, basically, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's
Great.
There's
Love
nothing
it.
on Elon Musk taking over Twitter.
No, I haven't seen anything
No?
recently. I mean, besides Musk posts a video of himself scrolling into Twitter. That's it. That's literally the only news they have at the moment regarding Twitter and Musk. The fact that he went
Twitter offices with a sink, carrying a sink,
what?
why?
and said and tweeted, let that sink in.
Oh Jesus.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening, but he also, I think, said something. I don't know if he said it now, but he said something about Biden. I think.
Musk did?
Yeah, I don't know if it was now, but I saw it today, right after that let that sink in thing.
Hmm.
Mm.
So I'm not
Well, I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people have started talking about Biden in general and how he's like the leftists are finally starting to admit that maybe Biden wasn't the best choice. And it's like, no, you don't understand. That party is shit in general. So, but yeah, I've been seeing that pretty much everywhere, even on Instagram, which is not a place I usually see anything political in particular. So,
Well, it seemed like Carrie Lake won.
would you care to explain who Carrie Lake is?
I think we watched her last week
The
on the
candidate
podcast.
for governor of Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we actually
Well, I
watched it.
wasn't there for that part. I
She
had
was a journalist. She was a TV basically anchor for like 30 years.
okay.
And she quit basically because she was like, yeah, the news is now bullshit. It's just propaganda.
Well, here we go.
Quit, and then she ran for the state. And the funny thing is, everybody is attacking her. Even Republicans have attacked her.
Oh Jesus. Really?
She's MAGA. She's very MAGA. So even Republicans, like the establishment, has kind of distanced themselves from her and whatever. But she's just gaining and gaining. Her opponent is refusing to even debate her. have set up twice for debate, and both times the opponent didn't show up.
Yeah, that's gonna go well.
Nice.
Well, they're doing a Biden. That's the same
Yeah,
thing. Biden
yeah.
just stopped appearing everywhere, and his number would just go up
Oh boy.
during the
But like,
election.
how MAGA are we talking here? Like, is she just, are
She
people
was
just calling her
directly
MAGA?
endorsed. She was directly endorsed by Trump. She has talked about the election being stolen.
Okay,
Yeah, all the way.
I see. All right, interesting.
Yeah, and she was asked recently about that. Like they're calling her election denier, as if she says elections don't exist.
Yeah.
And they called her. This reporter asked her, and then she pulled out immediately a list, and she said basically there's 170 something cases of Democrats denying the result of elections
Yeah.
since 2000,
Yeah,
and you have not addressed one of them.
Yeah. Not even once.
Yeah.
interesting.
And basically she knows. She's been basically in the game. So
Yeah,
she
she's reporting the fucking news.
destroys them. Every time they go after her, she just crushes them.
I mean,
So
yeah, anybody paying attention, which I think maybe she has been, she would
oh,
know
if
this
she
shit.
becomes the governor, I see a very good chance of her becoming president in
Really,
like maybe future in like 10 years.
assuming that, things don't go to hell before that. But
Yeah, but the good thing about America is, as we talked about the whole basically the totalitarian ideology going crazy and crazy until it becomes the ruling ideology and then it stops,
hmm,
and how it can't do that in America because there's so many checks and balances, it doesn't let it take over, so it just becomes more and more ridiculous. I think America has enough checks and balances still to prevent it from going completely downhill,
hmm,
and there's always chance to pull back, because even if the good thing about America is most of the crazy liberals are in certain states.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And states are very important, different states. So it's not like in Canada where everybody votes for the like,
Yeah, it is
yeah,
different. The system is different.
yeah.
Well, I
So
guess we'll see. I guess we'll just have to, wait and see and play the long
she
waiting game if she
is
goes
she's
anywhere.
gonna be a big player. She's gonna be a big player in the next 10 years. Let's like heed my words. Just
Hmm.
All
remember
right. We'll
that.
quote you on that then.
Yeah, we'll forget about the Dan Crenshaw thing and we'll quote you on this one.
What Crenshaw thing?
You were saying that Crenshaw was going to be a candidate.
I said he could, yeah. And
Yeah,
he will be. He will still be a candidate.
I don't think he has any sort of credibility left.
And
So
he
No,
will
he may not
base.
have credibility, but
run.
he's still trying to be relevant. That's for sure.
He
He's like
will
people talk about
run.
him all the time.
Yeah, he will run. He will become like a popular with the establishment. He
Yeah.
will be popular
Just
with the
give,
establishment.
yeah, just give people like Carrie like some time to disappoint you because I just feel like my thing, I always say this nowadays, but I always just go back to I don't think anybody would be running for politics if they understood the gravity of the situation we're in right now, because obviously I think that we should all be prepping, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's for any politician, it's always going to be like, okay, why are you running for office instead of just like prepping? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
Because there's a
either they
lot of
don't know
these
what the fuck is
big,
going on, or they're career politicians. It's like one or the other, I think. Because even especially with career politicians, that is their career. That
because
is
there's, yeah,
literally the
because
whole point of their life,
well,
right?
because
It's not,
politicians, their job is to generate money and clout,
yes.
and there's money and clout always to be generated from bringing basically people outside of the mainstream, like into the mainstream tent, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to like generate as much consent for the governance as possible.
Mm-hmm.
No, dude, Crenshaw, I said he has a future. He
Mhm.
could be the president. And
Yeah.
I still say that.
Okay.
Okay? It's just that he is not the person that I wanted him to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, people had
But
a lot of hope.
he is very popular among the
Yeah.
establishment
Yeah.
and among the rhinos and even among a lot of Democrats.
Yeah, shockingly.
And
Yeah.
among the moderate, like a dummy Democrats, he is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying he will definitely be president. I don't think he would because the MAGA movement is still alive and they're gonna go after him in a debate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not like he's gonna go into oblivion. He will still be one of the big ones.
Right.
They rolled him out for a reason. He was like supposed to be the new face of the party. He was talking to the university students and all that stuff. I'm the cool like guy and whatever. But it was just that MAGA people were more serious, so they went after him hard
Mm-hmm.
and exposed him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Republicans didn't consider. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He's still managing to stay relevant somehow, though, even though his credibility is kind of shot at the moment. But
Yeah, but his
he's still out
credibility
there.
again is shot with the MAGA crowd,
Yeah.
not with everybody. But yeah.
So you
But
have
the good
we'll
thing
just
is
have
MAGA crowd is now the majority of the Republicans. So that's good.
yeah. It seems like the MAGA crowd has honestly only grown, especially after Trump was elected out of office. Like it's interesting, like the way that the political sphere in the States is starting to brew, or at least the direction in which it's heading.
They
Because
woke up. That's the thing. When you
yeah,
wake up, you can't go back to sleep. It's just you can't.
yeah,
So they woke up. It's just that when you wake up, you just get angrier and angrier. You can't just go back to sleep.
that's
Mm.
So
true.
that's what's happened. And yeah, they're not represented in the Republican Party yet,
No,
but I think this election is gonna make them much stronger.
you think so? All right.
Yeah,
Well,
but they have a lot of candidates.
all right. Well, see as bets are placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be much stronger than before. They had like about 50 representatives in the Republican Party.
Mm.
Not that the Republican representatives were all MAGA, but
Right.
they were like real representatives.
Right.
So there were about 50 of them who went against the Ukraine just blank check thing.
Right.
And I believe this time it's gonna it's gonna increase. The number is gonna increase.
Right.
Definitely. And Republicans won't be able to just ignore them. They
Yeah.
might even be able to basically take over the party soon because they're not fucking around. They know how to use their power,
Yeah.
and yeah, they know that they're going against kind of a one party system. So we'll see.
I guess we'll have to see. Things will definitely be interesting in terms of politics for the next few years as inflation hits pretty much every country very hard.
And yeah, the thing you say about politicians, why are they running?
Yeah.
The reason for a politician running is not always making money and clout.
Well, sometimes
That's
I guess it's like the ideological, like the anti-woke stuff. I can see that as
that's
well.
one of it. That's another one of it. And the other thing is there is a narcissism there.
Yeah, oh, of course.
That they do have a savior complex, a lot of them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now, this savior complex sometimes works and sometimes becomes a horror, but still, a lot of them do have that.
It's true. Yeah. A lot of well, I mean, the kind of go
Some.
hand in hand with being in politics, right? Like you sit there and have a hero complex.
Well,
So
a lot of them, no. A lot of them, like Biden, he
yeah.
talked about how he started by going to suck up to billionaires and they said, no, it's too early, come later. Like basically a lot of them just go into politics for power and money and influence. A lot of them. And it's the way to go because it's like a connection thing. But some go because they believe they have a kind of a savior complex. They believe they can fix things even no matter how terrible it is.
Right.
And Trump had that. Trump is a narcissist.
Yeah.
And he thought he could fix things. Now,
I guess the part of that that I was trying to emphasize was that I feel like a lot of the ones that I want to like anyway, like the Polyevers and
Right.
these people,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like uh, they, see certain aspects of the problem and they're really passionate about it. But I don't think anybody who sees like the whole scope of the problem would think that they would be able to solve
For
it.
me,
We're
there is,
talking about like 1500-year cycles and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
yeah, but you have to understand something else too, dude. That yeah, you and I, we read stuff and we follow stuff and here and there and we get things out of it. There's still a lot of stuff behind the curtain that we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
yeah.
a lot of machinations going on that we have no clue about it. And sometimes those people, when they get in charge, they go, okay, if I want to fix these issues, I have to, for now, forget about that one.
Yeah.
Let that one, like, I don't know, the Abbas in Iran, the king in Iran, who basically gave a part of the country to Ottomans completely.
Yeah.
So he could go and defeat the Uzbeks on the east. And after he defeated them, he brought in the English, built the factories, built guns and cannons and whatever, and then went out and kicked out Ottomans too on the west.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's things that, because they're in a basically looking at it from a much better angle and they can see everything in behind the closed doors and whatever, because they've been behind closed doors, that they sometimes do make a deal with the devil.
Right.
And of course, we won't, but we have not been in that position to choose between the most dire things that we need to fix.
Right.
So when I see some politician like kind of does something that I don't agree with on one issue or a couple of issues, it doesn't like scare me that because I see a lot of people go, this guy sold that and whatever. And I'm like, no, sometimes, hey, when things are so shitty, sometimes you have to make deals here and there to fix the worst ones. Then it's easier to handle the other ones later when you fix those. So that is also kind of a way to look at it.
Right.
I mean, yeah, like people get into office and then they are like, oh my goodness, like I didn't realize there was like this much stuff. But that's kind of my point. My point is that
They bit off
any
more than they can chew.
anybody who knows what they're signing up for, I
Yeah.
don't think that they would be signing up for that right now in 2022.
Yeah, that's valid.
I don't know. Again, you underestimate the savior complex.
No, I mean I'm saying I agree with the savior complex thing. It's just I don't think that they even understand what they're trying to save people from. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that, for example, someone like Carrie Lake,
None of us
I don't
have
think
any.
I don't think someone like Carrie Lake probably understands like why we need to get rid of central banking, for example, right?
Actually, she has talked about the fact the banking and such, and how her state is going to have a separate thing, basically stimulus and whatever from the federal. She has talked about some economic stuff too.
That's
That
all like stuff around the edges, like I don't know. I'm coming from the worldview of the whole thing is coming down. The whole system is headed for a reset, whether we like it or not. That's why they're trying to do an intentional reset, because otherwise there's going to be an unintentional reset anyway, right? And we'll do a future podcast on them switching over all of the way that the derivative contracts are run next year from like what's called LIBOR into SOFR. But basically, this entire financial system has been basically, yeah, on the verge of collapse since like mid 2019,
Yeah.
or arguably since 2008. And I can't imagine anybody who, in their sane mind, would sign up to be in charge when this time bomb finally blows up. That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't think that people like Pierre Poilievre or Carrie Lake or any of these people could possibly, understand the nature of this time bomb that they're signing up to potentially, be handling. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, there's a
The
lot
thing
to be
the thing is
said.
too, the thing is too, anybody who would be paying enough attention to basic
Now, question,
Mhm.
sorry, question. You know this is happening.
Well,
You're
supposedly,
you're
allegedly.
no, listen, you're somebody, I'm giving you a scenario. You're in politics. You're trying to get into politics. And you know all this shit is happening. And you do have a savior complex. Do you think, hey, when this shit goes down, I'd rather me be in charge to protect people as much as I can, or just let this shit happen?
Yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near that because that's where politicians get killed and hanged.
Well, I'm saying you have a savior complex. Imagine if you had.
Yeah,
You would.
so it's up in arms. That's the problem is like
I'm
if you're
saying,
asking that to an individual, the answer is always going to change. So even if you do have the savior complex, you could easily say no or you could easily say yes. It's one or the other. I'm not sure if that's even
There's been a lot of politicians who have basically did their best and they've been assassinated, they've been ostracized, but they didn't give up because they believe what they were doing was right. Like, I know it's rare, but it does happen. A lot of politicians have gone down because of sticking to their guns.
yeah, that's true.
but that's kind of besides the point. Like, my point is just that I don't think that politicians that are running right now really grasp what they're signing up for. Because I don't think any sane person would sign up for that, regardless of savior complex or whatever. You can have a savior complex and also just not have a complete view of how fucked everything is,
True.
right?
Think if they know, everybody would just sit and nobody would try to do something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Saying anybody who knows what's going on would just, I think they would focus on preparing themselves and people around them